So the Washington Post is out with this new article about Tesla, and oh my goodness, is it damning. So they say 17 fatalities, 736 crashes, the shocking toll of Tesla's Autopilot. Tesla's driver assistance system, known as Autopilot, has been involved in far more crashes than previously reported. There was already some, rumblings about this online. And there'd always be an example of a video here or there where it shows a Tesla making some incredibly irrational decision when it's in that full self-driving mode. And people were always like, hey man, this is sketchy, this is questionable. And it's always a mistake that a normal human driver would never make. Like there's a brazenly obvious thing to do and they just don't do it. Well, now that appears to be backed up by the data. So they say the school bus was displaying its stop sign and flashing red warning lights, a police report said, when Tillman Mitchell, 17, stepped off one afternoon in March. Then a Tesla Model Y approached on North Carolina Highway 561. The car, allegedly in autopilot mode, never slowed down. It struck Mitchell at 45 miles per hour. The teenager was thrown into the windshield, flew into the air, and landed face down on the road, according to his great aunt, Dorothy Lynch. Mitchell's father heard the crash and rushed from his porch to find his son lying in the middle of the road. Quote, if it had been a smaller child, the child would be dead. The crash in North Carolina, Halifax County, where a futuristic technology came barreling down a rural highway with devastating consequences, was one of 736 U.S. crashes since 2019 involving Teslas in autopilot mode. Far more than previously reported, according to a Washington Post analysis of National Highway Traffic Safety Administration data. The number of such crashes has surged over the past 4 years, the data shows, reflecting the hazards associated with increasingly widespread use of Tesla's futuristic driver assistance technology, as well as the growing presence of the cars on the nation's roadways. The number of deaths and serious injuries associated with the Autopilot also has grown significantly, the data shows. When authorities first released a partial accounting of accidents involving Autopilot in June 2022, they counted only 3 deaths definitively linked to the technology. The most recent data includes at least 17 fatal incidents, 11 of them since last May, and 5 serious injuries. Mitchell survived the March crash, but suffered a fractured neck and a broken leg and had to be placed on a ventilator. He still suffers from memory problems and has trouble walking. His great aunt said the incident should serve as a warning about the dangers of the technology. Quote, I pray that this is a learning process. People are too trusting when it comes to a piece of machinery. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said that the cars operating in Tesla's autopilot mode are safer than those piloted solely by human drivers, citing crash rates when the modes of driving are compared. He has pushed the car maker to develop and deploy features programmed to maneuver the roads, navigating stopped school buses, fire engines, stop signs, and pedestrians, arguing that the technology will usher in a safer, virtually accident-free future. Well, what happened to that? Look, this was the promise of the technology. Accident-free. What we're learning is, you're 736 off, bro. Accident-free my ass cheeks. That's not what's happening. While it's impossible to say how many crashes may have been averted, the data shows clear flaws in the technology being tested in real time on America's highways. Tesla's 17 fatal crashes reveal distinct patterns. 4 involved a motorcycle, another involved an emergency vehicle, while some of Musk's decisions, such as widely expanding the availability of the features and stripping the vehicle of radar sensors, appear to have contributed to the reported uptick in incidents, according to experts who spoke with the Post. They got rid of the radar sensors. Wait until you find out why. Tesla and Elon Musk did not respond to a request for comment. NHTSA said a report of crash involving driver assistance does not itself imply that the technology was the cause. Oh, really? NHTSA has an active investigation into Tesla Autopilot, including full self-driving. Spokeswoman Veronica Morales said, noting the agency doesn't comment on open investigations. They continue here. Musk has repeatedly defended his decision to push driver-assisted assistance technology to Tesla owners, arguing the benefit outweighs the harm. How's that for a benefit? How's that picture for a benefit? At the point of which you believe that adding autonomy reduces injury and death, I think you have a moral obligation to deploy it, even though you're going to get sued and blamed by a lot of people, Musk said last year, because the people whose lives you saved don't know that their lives were saved, and the people who do occasionally die or get injured, they definitely know, or their state does. Excuse me, didn't you say no crashes? Didn't I just read that? Former NHTSA senior safety advisor Missy Cummings, a professor at George Mason University's College of Engineering and Computing, said the surge in Tesla crashes is troubling. Tesla is having more severe and fatal crashes than people in a normal data set. She said in response to the figures analyzed by the Post, one likely cause, she said, is the expanded rollout over the past year and a half of the full self-driving, which brings driver assistance to city and residential streets. Quote, the fact that anybody and everybody can have it, is it reasonable to expect that might be leading to increased accident rates? Sure, absolutely. Cummings said the number of fatalities compared to overall crashes was also a concern. It is unclear whether the data captures every crash involving Tesla's driver assistance systems. So this might even be an undercount. NHTSA's data includes some incidents where it is unknown whether autopilot or full self-driving was in use. Those include 3 fatalities, including one last year. NHTSA, the nation's top auto safety regulator, began collecting the data after a federal order in 2021 required automakers to disclose crashes involving driver assistance technology. The total number of crashes involving the technology is minuscule compared with all road incidents. NHTSA estimates that more than 40,000 people died in wrecks of all kinds last year. Here's why that makes no sense. How many people are driving their cars regular versus people who are driving on full autopilot mode or semi-autopilot mode? We all know about the risks that are associated with driving on your own, but people do not know that if you go into full autopilot mode, you're actually taking a similar risk. And my guess is those people, if they could, would say, no, I'm not going to go on autopilot and crash. I'd rather be driving myself, and if anybody's to blame, it's me or the other person. They overpromise and they underdeliver. That's the main point here. They overpromise and they underdeliver. Since the reporting requirements were introduced, again, wait till you hear, there's more facts on this which are astonishing. Since the reporting requirements were introduced, the vast majority of the 807 automation-related crashes have involved Tesla. Tesla, which has experimented more aggressively with automation than other automakers, also is linked to almost all of the deaths. So other companies are more cautious, and they're more clear that, hey, this is only like semi-autopilot. You got to keep your hands on the wheel, etc. Musk recently rolled out full, auto mode. And then he had to go back on that. Subaru ranked second with 23 reported crashes since 2019. That's a lot lower. The enormous gulf probably reflects wider deployment and use of automation across Tesla's fleet of vehicles, as well as the wider range of circumstances in which Tesla's drivers are encouraged to use autopilot. Autopilot, which Tesla introduced in 2014 in a suite of features that enable the car to maneuver itself from highway on-ramp to off-ramp, maintaining speed and distance behind other vehicles and following lane lines. Tesla offers it as a standard feature on its vehicles, of which more than 800,000 are equipped with autopilot on U.S. roads, though advanced iterations come at a cost. Full self-driving, an experimental feature that customers must purchase, allows Teslas to maneuver from point A to point B by following turn-by-turn directions along a route, halting for stop signs and traffic lights, making turns and lane changes, and responding to hazards along the way. With either system, Tesla says drivers must monitor the road and intervene when necessary. Oh, so in other words, it's not really full autopilot. When you call it full self-driving mode, that might lead to some people going, okay, I won't keep my hands on the wheel, and then crash. So maybe don't call it full self-driving mode. That's misleading marketing. The uptick in crashes coincides with Tesla's aggressive rollout of full self-driving, which has expanded from around 12,000 users to nearly 400,000 in a little more than a year. Nearly 2/3 of all driver assistance crashes that Tesla has reported to NHTSA occurred in the past year. Philip Koopman, a Carnegie Mellon University professor who has conducted research on autonomous vehicle safety for 25 years, said the prevalence of Teslas in the data raises crucial questions. A significantly higher number certainly is a cause for concern, he said. We need to understand if it's due to actually worse crashes or if there's some other factor, such as a dramatically larger number of miles being driven with autopilot on. In February, Tesla issued a recall of more than 360,000 vehicles equipped with full self-driving over concerns that the software prompted its vehicle to disobey traffic lights, stop signs, and speed limits. Excuse me? Excuse me? If you can't get the traffic lights, the stop signs, and the speed limits right, then what are you talking about full self-driving for? That's not what this is. My God, they couldn't get the basics right. This is the basics. The flouting of traffic laws, documents posted by the safety agency said, could increase the risk of collision if the driver does not intervene. You don't say. Tesla said it remedied the issues with an over-the-air software update remotely addressing the risk. While Tesla constantly tweaked its driver assistance software, it also took the unprecedented step of eliminating its radar sensors from new cars and disabling them from vehicles already on the road, depriving them of a critical sensor as Musk pushed a simpler hardwire set amid the global computer chip shortage. Musk said last year, only very high resolution radar is relevant. They took the radar sensors out of the car because Elon wanted to save money because there was a computer chip shortage. They took the radar sensor. I don't know, man. I'm no expert. That seems like sort of a necessary thing when you're talking about full self-driving cars. This is astonishing. I can't believe there's not 400 lawsuits already against Tesla over this. But as per usual, Elon Musk overpromised, underdelivered, and now he's dealing with the consequences. Look, final point on this. I already told you guys a long time ago. I'm super skeptical of stuff like this. Full self-driving cars. Why? They literally cannot program to account for all of the nuances that you account for when you're driving. Your brain is a supercomputer. You make decisions you don't even realize you're making when you're driving. I've given one example before. These cars are all programmed to drive right in the middle of the lane. But hold on. If you're driving, let's say you got a 50-mile-an-hour road, lane going this way, lane going this way. If a car's coming towards you and they're 3 or 4 inches more towards your side of the road, you're not going to drive in the middle of the road. You're going to bump over 3 or 4 inches and drive a little bit more on the right side of the road. That is just one little intricacy, one little nuance of driving, which you probably do. You don't even think about it. And that's one of what? Thousands of individual little decisions that you make when you're driving, which is common sense to you, but to a computer, common sense doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So color me super skeptical. And in fact, people are already going to point out, hey, we were already right. 17 fatalities, 736 crashes, when the whole argument was you're not going to have any crashes. You're not going to have any fatalities. That's the whole point. That's the whole appeal. Well, now that's gone. Now that's gone. Maybe one day will they perfect it? Sure. We're nowhere near that point yet. And shame on Elon Musk, as per usual, for overpromising and underdelivering. Just like he said 12 years ago, we'll be on Mars in 10 years. Really? Where are we? We ain't there. So maybe reel it in. Be more realistic. Be more honest with your claims. But then he wouldn't be Elon Musk now, would he? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.